Hi, I'll start the show with a song. New you. That's a song that's being offered by Dwayne Lee Hepner, founder of the New Presentation, the Wonderful Worldwide Educators, the author of the Adventurous series of books that are available at lulu.com, or if you get a hold of Kelsey Lynn Brown on Facebook or YouTube, or if you're trying to find her, you'll probably be able to see about getting some PDFs of the books and other information. Today is an attempt to try to help guide people, whoever's listening, to wake up and remember why we came here into these psych realms, and find some guidance to learn how to earn our way out of these psych realms into the real universes where there's real freedom instead of the implied freedom we have here in these psych realms. And to where there's real love instead of the stuff we think is love here in these psych realms, this emotional stuff. Today I'll read a little bit of one of the new books by Dwayne the Great Writer. This is The Real Far Country. It's called New Book 3. And let's see what it says here, so you can decide whether you want to check out the New Presentation and the Adventurous series of books for yourself. Scene 8, Foreverness with the All Is. My dream visions were now very intense with all that I had gone through for years. I was now in so many different worlds and dimensions with so much untold knowledge that it was hard for me to relate much of what I had experienced to my physical life. For the most part, I was a surfer, then later on was in construction, which gave me a lot of freedom on the earth to do what I wanted. It really was hard for me to relate to what Rebazar was telling me about my future, and that I would be a writer like Paul. That's Paul Twitchell, who's the founder of the organization called Eckankar. I can imagine that it is hard for those who will be reading this to realize where I am and in what time frame. But one must understand that there is no time of events with what I was experiencing. I have never written down dates or even places, because to me it doesn't matter. All I care about is the real experiences. When we enter into the higher levels of the real side, we are not concerned with the past or future, because everything we can have is always now. Even with our physical life, the present has nothing to do with the all-isness reality. With the true reality, each successive moment is ever so much better and more alive, but to explain this to a person who has no real experience, they will merely shrug it off as a funny story of sorts. I can understand this, and so I always suggest a person first read one of my books and then decide if they want to go for this adventure. As I was sitting on my bed one night and drawing some cartoon characters, I could see a faint wisp of a shadow in my room. I immediately got the impression it was Ursula, and I even heard her laugh. Ursula's a mermaid. A real mermaid. Ha ha, you can see me. I thought I could fool you, she said as she giggled. I put the body down and flew above my house to meet her, as she was floating in the nighttime air. I could see you drawing again. Why don't you draw some pictures of me, she asked. I don't want anyone to know about you, I said. Oh, that doesn't matter. Most people are so human they won't pay attention anyhow, she said. I can see that, but if someone asked me about you, I might be a little nervous to say something, I said. Don't worry, Dwayne. No one will ever see me anyhow because you and the boys, that's the universal guides, or some of them, are the only ones who do. Earth people have very little imagination when it comes to having real fun, she said. Okay, just for you, and I will keep it between my mattress where no one can find it, I said. Good. I am excited to see it. For now, let's go to the beach and play in the water. We can go where the surf is always good on the real side. I have been with my sisters today, and now it's your turn, she said. We flew off into the sky for a ways until we spotted the perfect place to land on the deserted beach. From overhead, I could see miles upon miles of beachfront with huge green palm trees lining the shore. I liked the view from up here as we sailed down to the sand. This is a perfect spot for us, said Lou as we stood. Look at the surf here. It is so perfect with no one out except those dolphins out there, I said as I stared. Those are our new friends, Dwayne. They came to play with us, so let's go and swim with them, she said as we both walked in the shallows and swam out to the dolphins. The water was so perfectly clear and light blue, just like in a picture postcard. The dolphins were jumping around and making their funny sounds as Ursula and I came up to them. I had to laugh at their antics. They are speaking to us, Dwayne. They can see we are their friends and they want to play, she said. The dolphins nodded their heads up and down as they agreed with Lou and made their giggly sounds as they dove down and came back to the surface. I gave one of them a hug and then held onto his fin. He began to take me in a big circle around Lou as she watched us and laughed. What a great place this is, and no one else around. The sky was so clear and blue, and the sun shined all over the watery surface like sparkling diamonds of precious light. Lou and I played for the longest time with the dolphins and swam back to the shore. We got out of the water and walked along the beach for the longest time. This is our life, Dwayne. You and I are so alike that we are the same awareness together. We have known each other for untold lifetimes and went through our own experiences to finally end up here as we are. As you fulfill what you are on earth to do, you will add to our experiences and especially our awareness of the real universes. You and I will go on forever into the vastness of the all is and continually explore the uncharted, unseen areas of the true reality, she said. That sounds fun, miss. No more school or working for a living, but exploring and having fun wherever we are, I said, and at that moment it started to rain. Look, the sky is clear, but it is raining. It is all the trees and vegetation of this island. They are calling up to the skies for water, and so it rains for them, she said. Wow, that is cool. I don't see a cloud in the sky, yet here is all this water coming down, I said. Yes, this is the way life is. It listens as we listen to it. All our needs are met as we become more aware and capable of understanding the true reality. This is why Rebazar is giving you an intensive course on what has been taking place on Earth for the longest time. Humans have the ability to form their own consciousness, but in doing so, they usually exile themselves from what is real. To many, the idea of consciousness is an ultimate position, like that of the mind and what a person can think and create. Here again is the stages all of us have went through to become aware now. Everything in human history has led up to this very moment, and what we have experienced in all those past lives is a platform of reference and nothing more. Humans are always afraid, which is why there will always be those who set themselves up to be above others and dominantly rule. They are actually afraid to be equal and real. Because each person has their own experiences, there is always so many different ideas and attitudes with humans and their limited awareness of life. You and I are not interested in such silliness, she said. You are right. I like being here with you on our own island together, I said, as she motioned for us to fly in the sky, and then we flew into another dimension. We were soon over Rebazar's hut as Ursha waved me goodbye for now, and I sailed downward. It was dawn in the high mountains as the colorful display of the rising sun portrayed itself to a new day. Being all alone in this vast place, I could feel the enlistment of every moment that was taking place. I landed on the surface and walked into Rebazar's little hut as he was standing there. Rebazar sat himself down on the hard dirt floor and started right in. I will now take up the rest points with the all is. The people that are taught the ways of static religion think of their heaven as a place where eternity continues their great joy and happiness. This is not altogether so. There are actual rest points between certain periods in eternity. All eternity is a series of stops and starts, a continued action of motion in which the cycles run on for many ages. These ages continue for centuries, according to time, before they reach a rest point. They must reach a stop in order to gather momentum to move along to the next point. All eternity is on the move, moving forward, not into a future out of the past, but always in motion in the present, actually the ever-nowness. None of us age in the unseen universes. Our life is always in the now. This is an interesting point to consider, living in the now, which is hard while living on this level, but it must be done. because without living in the now of reality, your insight will vanish quickly and you will be lost in the phenomena to the gods of fabrication. The only thing the little finite mind can compare with eternity is an endless, immeasurable period of time. Eternity is many times confused with reality, which is the nowness of invented time. The isness, or the nowness, is used to refer to the true being. The nowness is closer to eternity than any descriptive words to describe the everlasting. The isness of the great reality is much more a term we can use to describe the eternal being of all that is. On the other hand, nowness is more or less a stillness of motion, a quieting in the present moment. From stillness, we now receive the opportunity to live forever in this present moment. Within time is movement from point to point, a starting point, a duration, and eventually an end, but real nowness supersedes all of time and space, because there is only really now. The creative mind of man has created for himself a horror in the sense of time, because time is negative and destructive, belonging to the gods of man. Mankind has invented gods that are all fallacies, and invents the rules and regulations that his gods want him to obey, all of which are traps in time and space and have nothing to do with reality. Movement is also associated with time, which differs from being-isness. The nowness of being-isness is the real position in reality, where movement need not exist, but only realness, which is always now.